Recording in progress.
Welcome to your Urban Connection. Remember, this is the channel that is often imitated, but is never ever duplicated. Now, I have a very interesting show for you, and we're going to talk about, is Joe Biden's age really the issue? That's the question we're going to ask, and I think we might have the answers. But before we get into the show, let me remind you that this show is brought to you courtesy of Squeegee Squad, commercial window cleaners. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. Now, back to the show. You know, more and more each and every day, we're hearing more people, mostly Republicans, talk about Joe Biden's age. And they asking the question, is he too old to run for re-election? Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on former presidents and their ages and the current two candidates. Because you see, nobody's talking about the age of Donald Trump, the candidate who's leading the Republican platform. He's just 3 years younger than Joe Biden, but nobody's talking about that. So we have to ask the question, is Joe Biden's age really the issue? I think not. And I'll tell you why. But first, let me just share something with you. In our history, 8 presidents have died while in office. 4 of those were assassinated. The other 4 that died of natural causes died at young ages. And I want to give an example. Number 1, William Henry Harrison, was the youngest president to die while in office. He died just 32 days after his inauguration in 1841. His age, 68. Okay? And then we have Zachary Taylor, who died at the age of 65 in 1850. And we had William Harding, who died at the age of 57 in 1923. And finally, we have Franklin D. Roosevelt, who died in 1945 at the age of 63. Now, all of these men were much younger than Joe Biden is today. And nobody ever talked about or ever thought these guys would die in office. But now, all of a sudden, we have people like Nikki Haley, for example, and Donald Trump, and a few others who, with no medical history, no medical education on their resume, predicting that Joe Biden will die if he's reelected before the end of his term. So I have to ask the question, who gave them the permission and the authority to predict when anyone, including themselves, would die? Where is your medical background, your medical history, your medical education that gives you the authority to make that kind of speculative guess? Because that's all it is. And by the way, I have another question for both Nikki Haley and Donald Trump and the rest of those people that are making these kinds of predictions. When will you die? Can you tell us that? Do you know the answer to that? No, you don't. So you're in no position to be predicting when anybody will die. Let's face the facts. 5 years ago, at the age of 94, when his health was bad, he was under continuous hospitalization. Who would have predicted that Jimmy Carter would be celebrating his 99th birthday just a few weeks ago? Who would have predicted that? After all, Herbert Walker Bush died at the age of 94. So you're not in any position to predict when anybody will pass away. That's not your job. You're not educated for that. You're not authorized to do that, to make those kinds of predictions. You're way, way out of line. Okay? So what's the real reason for all of this animosity and miscalculation and denigration of Joe Biden's age? Well, I'm going to tell you tonight. I suspect that 85 to 90% of it has not one thing to do with Joe Biden's age. But 85 to 90% of it has to do with Kamala Harris's skin color. That's right. I'll say it because they won't say it. The mere fact is, Republicans and some Democrats, let's be honest, don't like the idea one bit of Kamala Harris becoming the president should, God forbid, something happen to Joe Biden. Now, that's the real issue. And like I said, they won't talk about it. They won't say that. But that's what it is. They would rather hide their true feelings and tell a lie and lay it all on Joe Biden's age. But let's face facts. Joe Biden, like I said, is only 3 years older than Donald Trump. And he's got a mind and a mindset that is much more favorable to all Americans, black, white, red, blue, whatever, than the mindset of Donald J. Trump. Because Donald J. Trump's mindset is only about one American. That's Donald J. Trump. But you see, the Americans, they don't want to see, first of all, I'll just be honest with you. They didn't like the idea that Obama served 2 terms. You must remember that the Republicans, Mitch McConnell in particular, did everything he could do, and he admitted it, to keep Obama from winning re-election. Did everything in his power to make him a one-term president. Donald J. Trump did everything to denigrate the reputation and the credibility of Barack Hussein Obama, because he felt that, look, this funny named black man whose name was Barack Hussein Obama, who had a black mother from southeastern Kansas and a black daddy from Kenya, and with that kind of name, he had to be born in Kenya. He had to be a Muslim. So Donald Trump, before he even ran for president, was demanding that Barack Hussein Obama was not smart enough to graduate from Harvard. So not only did he insist that Barack Obama show a copy of his birth certificate, which if I had been Obama, I would have told him where to go. Because in America, there's such a thing as innocent until proven guilty. And if you want to make an allegation, if you want to tell a lie based on no facts and no evidence, prove it. Prove it that I wasn't born in America. Prove that I am a Muslim, which he's never done to this day. But he didn't stop there. He insisted that this man, who he felt was not smart enough as a black man to graduate with honors from Harvard, show his transcripts from Harvard, while at the same time threatening to sue the college that he went to if they released his transcripts. Now, folks, that says an awful lot about the intelligence and the education that Donald J. Trump received from the School of Business that he claimed he attended and he graduated from. He claims he was the smartest man to ever attend this college. But he threatens to sue them. If you release my transcripts to show how dumb I am, as opposed to how smart I am, I will sue you. So that's what we have. And this is what is the backlash to Joe Biden's age. It's not really about Joe Biden. It's about the fact that if something were to happen to Joe Biden, guess who would be the most powerful person in the world? A Black woman by the name of Kamala Harris. And they can't stand that. They don't want any part of that. They don't want to hear the words President Kamala Harris, President of the United States. And they will do anything in their power. They will tell as many lies. They will do everything they can to denigrate her. They will do everything they can to damage her reputation, to damage her credibility, to make her less than a woman, maybe even less than a human being, if it means keeping her out of that White House as president. Now, would the same be true if she was a 5'2", 120-pound, blue-eyed, blonde-haired white woman? I think not. Even though those same Republicans, and Nikki Haley, you listen up, they don't want any female to be president. And you're running around here kissing, well, you know what, kissing the boots, thinking that you have a chance at being either vice president to a Donald J. Trump, or if Donald J. Trump, something were to happen to him, that you might be the presidential nominee in 2024. I got news for you, Nikki Haley. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not in America, not in 2024, not in the Republican Party. So you might as well stop kissing boots, stop kissing up to Trump, trying to win favors, because you're not going to be the nominee and you're not going to be his vice presidential pick. So the whole thing here is this issue is all about keeping Kamala Harris out of the Oval Office as president. Now, let me just tell you a little scenario. If Joe Biden, which he's never going to do, but if he were to decide he did not want Kamala Harris as his running mate, you wouldn't hear nearly as much about his age as what you're hearing right now. And that is, let me say this. That is, if he replaced her with either a white male or a white female. Okay? You wouldn't hear nearly as much about his age being a factor, because of the fact the real issue is that he's only 3 years older than Donald J. Trump. And like I said, nobody's talking about Donald Trump's age, nor are they talking about the fact that he's been impeached twice, indicted 4 times, been found guilty of rape once. He's facing 91 felonies. Plus, he's now facing the possibility of losing his Trump organization. And he's had everybody thinking all this time he's super rich. He's super rich, he will tell you. And he just got kicked off the Forbes 400 just 3 days ago. And they estimate his real net worth at somewhere around 2 billion. And even that might be high. But he will tell you he's worth 10 billion. But you see, Donald Trump has a history of inflating everything when it comes to his money. All right? He lies about the value of everything that he owns. And it's been proven. So, folks, I just want you to listen. And like I said, I'm telling you something that a lot of people won't tell you, but I'm going to tell you. This issue about the president being reelected has very little to do in reality with Joe Biden's age. It has more to do with Kamala Harris's skin color. Now, let me take a little bit of a break and make a little money for the show. Squeegee Squad, the professional, insured, bonded commercial window cleaners in Wichita, Kansas, and surrounding states. They are among the best commercial window cleaners in the country. And they specialize in multi-level apartment complexes, office buildings, banks, insurance offices, college campuses, military Air Force bases, or military any kind of bases. They specialize in. They love to go high. You've got a building with 5 floors, fine. They can handle it. 10 floors, all the better. 20 floors, they're ready, willing, and able. Remember, Squeegee Squad, we clean where others won't go. Give them a call for a free estimate. 316-202-6020. Squeegee Squad. You won't regret it. Now, ladies, I want to tell you about another little story. A couple of days ago, Marjorie Taylor Greene had a bill passed in Congress to reduce the salary of the United States Defense Secretary, who currently has a salary of $221,000 per year. Her bill, which passed the House but will never pass the Senate, would reduce his salary to $1 per year. And she says that is too much. Now, what's behind that? Well, here again, the Defense Secretary of the United States is a black man. And in Marjorie Taylor Greene's eyes, he can do no right. Everything he does and everything he has done, as far as she is concerned, is garbage. She will tell you that he is not worth a grain of salt. And yet, we've had some bad defense secretaries whose salary has never in the history of this country been challenged. But leave it to Marjorie Taylor Greene and some of the other wayward Republican congresspeople and senators to try to reduce this man and his efforts to less than satisfactory. Well, you want me to tell you whose $1 a year salary, if imposed, would be money well spent, money well saved? Marjorie Taylor Greene. Her efforts to do any type of governing, to do anything to enhance the lifestyle of her constituents in Georgia, are non-existent. She's only interested in showboating, drawing attention to herself, and making a fool of herself, which she would gladly do if her target is a black male or black female. It doesn't make her any difference. She shows her true colors. She shows her true ignorance. She shows her true ability to have no knowledge when it comes to governing, but plenty of knowledge as to how to attract attention to herself. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you are making a fool of yourself by trying to impose a $1 per year salary to a United States Defense Secretary who happens to be black. Good luck with that. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.